Hey guys, Romie here. So please like, comment, subscribe. This is my review for Married to Medicine, Season 4, Episode 15. This is the reunion part 1. Look, it jumps right into the mess. All the ladies are there initially except for Janice because, it's the main cast that are going to have most of the airtime right now. And Andy's going around, everyone saying, oh, it's nice, it's nice. He quickly notices that Mariah and Dr. Heavenly are both wearing the same earrings and shoes. I don't know who let that slip. I don't know who possibly let that slip, but it's just like, oh, shout out to Lisa Nicole in her jumpsuit. I'm sure it's a Lisa Nicole original. Simone. Shout out to Simone. Shout out to Dr. Jackie. What? Andy was on a roll. He was talking about, so do we have some earplugs for Simone? For us, when Simone is, goes up an octave. Quad has the whole Cleopatra thing going on. Toya's just taking over the rest of the couch on her side. And we just jump right into it. We have some things where it's a situation of, so what's the hardest thing being a doctor's, being a doctor? Like, what's the weirdest things that happen? One of the weirdest things that happens is Dr. Simone talks about how couples discuss them wanting to have threesomes and also swapping, swapping out, swinging. That's what it is, swinging. So there's some swinging activities, some threesomes, and it's sometimes the other person knows about it, sometimes they don't. So Dr. Jackie said the weirdest thing for her had to do with someone came in, they were playing with a vase. They inserted the vase. They couldn't get the vase out. They said, what? Yeah, she had to actually get a male doctor to come in because his hands were bigger. So I guess he could go, oh. I said, hold up now. Hold up now. Let's listen. Let's dial it back a little bit. This is just the first couple of minutes. And he goes over and looks at Quad and says, oh, Quad, you have to be careful next time. I said, you know what? Andy is ready today. He is ready today. Ethan brings up his, Andy brings up the fact that Ethan, that was the transgender patient of Dr. Simone's and how he's doing. Right now, the full surgery hasn't occurred yet because it's very expensive, and I don't think something like that's covered. And if it is, you probably have to have a high premium or something of that nature. So she was saying he's, doing the psychological process first, making sure that I guess he really wants to go through with all of it and what it will entail once he goes, moves forward with it. They kind of mention how it is to be a doctor and a doctor's wife and this whole thing of a God complex. The whole thing with that is they have these patients' lives in their hands, and that gets hard sometimes, and it gets very stressful. Now to Simone kind of brings up the fact that, people like to come at her and say, oh, well, your actions and how it's perceived on TV. And she says, hold up, wait a minute. There are doctors that will go and throw stuff while having surgery. There are doctors who will completely lose it. So if I'm loud, if I'm confrontational at times, I'll take that over what some of these people who are directly risking their practices are doing. Let's see. Toya gives it up to all the wives. All the doctors, because she's like, Atlanta only has 4% African American medical community, and it's very hard. It's very hard. So she respects all of them, regardless of what is being said or done on camera, off camera. You have to give it up to them because they're strong Black women and men who are doing it for themselves. So it's like, okay, Toya. The issue with all of this, though, is the fact that they start with Lisa Nicole. The whole issue of Lisa Nicole and the fact that her husband, they're like, okay, we know he's not gay, but we do know that he has cheated on you, and he said it. He said it multiple times, or at least made reference to it. Dr. Heavenly and Toya, they kind of tag team Lisa Nicole. So it's like, excuse me, why are you getting mad at us? You want us to go and feel a certain way for you and to support you, but at the end of the day, you're the one who has a husband on this TV screen that's saying disrespectful stuff and is doing disrespectful stuff. This all started because of the whole pregnancy. factor. The fact that she got pregnant and not she got pregnant, she wanted to get pregnant. Everyone was looking at it as your husband doesn't even necessarily want to have a baby, so why do you really want to have the baby? Remember, Lisa Nicole did mention the fact that Darren treats her differently when she's pregnant, so they bring that up as well. They leave no stone unturned in this reunion, and I do appreciate that. But I did feel a little bit bad for Lisa Nicole when she was having to defend herself, because again, at one point it really was Toya and Dr. Heavenly going back and forth with her, saying, you know, here's the thing. Your husband has cheated on you before. Your husband does some stuff that we would never allow our husbands to do. Your husband wasn't there for you at the event. And she says, you know, I can't do this reunion play by play because there was so much going on. I'm going to have to go and just do it based on memory. So she goes and lets it be known that here is the thing. Oh yeah, please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already done so. Here's the thing. I am happy in my marriage. We're all looking at her like, if you say you're happy, you're happy. We don't really care. Your so-called friends, the ones that really care. She was just saying how, I don't understand why you guys don't get that. If I'm saying I'm happy in my marriage, then that should be good enough. They're letting her know, no, it's not good enough, only because we see certain things that make us feel a certain way. You say that he's on your side, you say that he's with you, that you're on the same page, but then he goes and says stuff to other people, and you're not around. You're not around. This is on and off camera. So that's why we're going and bringing it back to you, and then you get upset with us. My whole mantra is, if you're really someone's friend, if you said your piece initially, you don't have to say it again. You are officially beating a dead horse. Why would you beat a dead horse? Come on now. Come on now. What? That's not what friends do. You let your voice be heard. You let your concerns be heard. And right now, Lisa Nicole, she's going to slow down on having the baby because she actually had a blood clot right after the season concluded. So the portion of we're concerned for your health, that was valid. Now she's just saying she didn't feel like she got the support that she expected, and she didn't. She didn't. Should people have just supported her because she wanted it? No, because if we're your friends and if we're saying that, you know, your husband's kind of saying some shady stuff, and we're telling you this, what are you going to do about it? Well, I know what he's telling me and I know how I feel. So at the end of the day, I'm going to go and continue on with my marriage. It's not as bad. It's not bad like you think it is. I'm going to continue to be happy. Are you going to be happy for me or you're not? We're not. So then that's it. How do I feel about Lisa Nicole's friendship with Dr. Heavenly? I think that it was valid. Dr. Jackie said, you know what? What you're seeing right now is her between Lisa Nicole and Dr. Heavenly. They were real friends. Some of these other people on the panel, and I'm glad that Lisa Nicole says, it's like, are y'all really friends? Are you really my friends? No, they're not. They're really not. They are definitely not. They are friendly. Just like what I said before, they are friendly. Because Dr. Heavenly and Lisa Nicole, the whole issue with them is they were friends. Lisa Nicole said that she brought her into, you know, the business side. She also told her some very personal things, and she normally doesn't do that. She definitely seems like someone who normally is more standoffish and doesn't let people in. So I will acknowledge the fact that I believe her when she says, ooh, excuse me, all of that. The problem with all of this is the other people. I really feel like if some of the other names and faces weren't around saying and interjecting, then it would have been a different story. Now, I don't know why this seemed to be so important. Because Quad made mention of the fact that, you know, it's interesting how Mariah is now on Lisa Nicole's side when Mariah was saying stuff about Lisa Nicole's husband, insinuating that he was gay. And Lisa Nicole, during the season 2 photo shoot, she came to Quad's room and was just like, why is Mariah saying that my husband's gay? Lisa Nicole had that look of, I don't recall saying it like that. I don't remember saying that. I know I said something. I don't remember saying that. That's the look that I got from her. Mariah's just like, I never said anything like that. How dare you even insinuate anything like that? I'm sure that it was probably one of their usual back and forth banters that Lisa Nicole being new to the group and Mariah saying something or maybe mentioning some rumor stuff. I don't know. I do feel like something like that probably happened. It wasn't as clear cut as that because there's a difference, but I'm sure that something to that effect occurred and now everyone's cool with each other and the other side isn't, the opposing side isn't. And so uh, that was just one little thing I wanted to throw in there. But this whole thing of Dr. Heavenly being an alcoholic, do I think that she's really an alcoholic? No. Do I think that she has a lot of emotional issues? We see that. We see that wholeheartedly. She's the type of person that, and they bring this up, that when she was growing up, she had to deal with the fact that she was larger and she didn't really have the clothes to accommodate or maybe mask her size. And due to that, she got made fun of a lot. But she would always come back at them. She developed a tough skin. You know, Lil Kim, because Andy was saying, so is Lil Kim gonna come back or is she gonna be late to rest? Because at one point, when do you let Lil Kim go? When do you let Lil Kim go? And that's what we're all thinking. When does Dr. Heavenly let Lil Kim go? It's tiring. It's definitely ruining relationships that you can see she really does want to have. Because I don't think that she's a bad person. I don't think that she's just evil and malicious. But I do think that she has a malicious side to her. And it doesn't take much for her to come out towards someone. When Janice came out and Dr. Heavenly said, you know what? I have to apologize. Now, mind you, when they're doing the playback for when Janice came out, I was cackling. Because they were showing when Mariah had that event at her house. And that women's empowerment event. And Janice was going at Dr. Heavenly. Every single person except for Dr. Heavenly, who the camera panned to when they were showing that clip, had that look of and Dr. Jackie said, you know what? Janice is cool with me. Anyone can stand up to Dr. Heavenly like that is cool with me. And I think that's how we all felt. Janice kind of faded towards the background as the season progressed, but that cemented her overall, okay, we see you. And it's not about, oh, coming down on someone. It's the fact that Janice had an issue, and it has to do with how Dr. Heavenly came at her and her husband, and she voiced it, and she didn't back down. You see those 3 points? Had the issue, brought it up, did not back down. So Dr. Heavenly apologized again. She said, I'm sorry, I did not know about the situation of your husband's wife passing away and you taking charge of all the kids and also having your own set of kids. And I did feel bad about that because he was genuinely nice to me and I felt comfortable. The thing is, you should never feel that comfortable to just be rattling off certain things like that. So we can't give Dr. Heavenly a pass for that. But we must acknowledge the fact that she did apologize. I do believe it. And that's the thing with Dr. Heavenly. She is the type of person where as long as you stand up to her, it is all right. Lisa Nicole, when Dr. Heavenly and Toya were kind of going back and forth. Oh yeah, Toya, they bring up the tax issue. And Toya wants it to be very clear. She messed up. There were no training wheels. And, you know, Mariah was even like, look, I know where you came from, so I do understand where you're coming from. And the thing is, Toya acknowledges the fact that she messed up. Quad's just like, I'm surprised because I would have never thought it would have been that bad of an issue between them because they thought that they looked like they at least had it together. Toya acknowledges she was initially blaming her husband, and we all saw that. She was initially blaming her husband and everyone else for it when it was her fault and also her husband's fault. They didn't do what they needed to do. They weren't equipped, but also they didn't do what they needed to do to make sure that they never ran into this type of issue. So now they're going to be moving differently. They're still going to, you know, live somewhat of a grand life, but on a budget. And that's all we've ever told them. That's all we ever thought. The whole concept of going to that big, beautiful house, when we're thinking, I know they're doing really well, but do they really need to do all that? Can they really handle all of that? But Toya made it very clear that it's not just her husband who's bringing in a check. Now, I'm assuming mainly her being on the show and everything that has to pertain to the show, and maybe a side business or two. But Toya wanted to make sure that we understood that her husband is the breadwinner. And she acknowledges that. But he's not the only one that is bringing in a check. She's not just going and spending his money. And that is how it comes off. That is definitely how it comes off. We did see in prior seasons when she was trying to do stuff, but it was also kind of a connection with her husband and side businesses. But No, Toya, we know that you're bringing in a check, that you're not just spending his money, that you are doing something. You're not just a housewife per se, but because it's perceived that way, that's what happens. I do like the fact that Lisa Nicole, when it came to the whole alcohol issue of Dr. Heavenly, does she have an alcohol? Is she an alcoholic? No, I don't think that she is. I do think that she overindulges at times. I mean, that's the truth. You can see it. She's someone who already is kind of on guard, emotionally on guard. So then you bring in alcohol? Are you? And then it goes extremely left. So Lisa Nicole is like, look, I said what I said. Did I see you drink the bottle? Yes. In under 2 hours? Yes. Dr. Heaven's like, no, you haven't seen me drink no bottle. How dare you go insinuate something like that? Because at the end of the day, I have a license. Do you know what could happen if they go and they even think that I'm an alcoholic or any substance abuse issues? I'll get my license removed. I'm working on people. I'm working on people. Their lives are in my hands. If I mess up, that's on me and on them. So I get why she was upset. But what I will say is just like what she did this season, she's to continue. Don't be drinking on set. Look, if people are calling you an alcoholic, prove to them that you don't even need alcohol. Don't drink on set. It shouldn't have to get to that, but since it's already at that place, you need to make sure that you do damage control, because this is the point where people do feel that way. I know I'm saying I don't feel that way, but there are people who definitely feel that way. And the last thing you want is an investigation of any kind on your business. So I'm not upset for Lisa Nicole saying it, because if that's what she saw, that's what she saw. People are saying, oh, she's not real enough, she's not. So say it if that's what you saw. But if Dr. Heavenly's saying I'm not alcoholic, don't mess with my money and my livelihood like that, I have to respect that as well. That is her livelihood that could be ruined from a rumor. Because we've seen her drink and we've seen her do stuff because of that. And you know, it's always joked around about it. But there's a difference between drinking and acting a fool while you're drunk. I mean, Simone gets loud when she has drinking alcohol, but we definitely don't feel like there's any issues work-wise or anything that could conflict with work. So that's my take on that. But shout out to Lisa for standing her ground. Also, when it was brought up at the in Hawaii, how her husband was gone for 2 days. He didn't come for 2 days, and then he came for the rest. He came for the part that mattered, the renewal ceremony. That's what he came for. And I will acknowledge, and Andy brought it up too, why would Simone's husband, Darren, why would he want to come to a place where they're constantly insinuating things, constantly insinuating that he's gay, constantly insinuating that he's always just continued to cheat on his wife, or that he can't be trusted, period, or that all he does is lie to her? He says a lot of stupid things. That's what he does. He says a lot of stupid things. So because of that, we have these perceived notions that he must be doing something on the side. He must be doing someone on the side, or he's just lying to her, period. And he's, stringing her along in this marriage. I'm sure he loves her. Do I think that she outwardly shows her affection for her husband more than he does to her on camera? Absolutely. And I think that's the issue that most of us are having. It's like, okay, we understand if it's not necessarily a personality type, but your wife is going hard for you, and you're just kind of like, all right, cool, yeah, I support you. When, at least with Toya's husband, they're on the same accord. Dr. Simone and her husband, they're on the same accord. Dr. Jackie and her husband, that's a different story. I'm sure in part 2 we're going to find out what's going on there. But you see where I'm going with this, right? So I think that's the main issue. But I do like the fact that she brought up, so Heavenly, your husband had to go back to work. He had to go back to work, and that wasn't an issue because he needs to take care of the family. He's a strong black man. She's like, her husband's a strong black man as well, and he, whether it was because he didn't do it correctly and make sure that he got off in time, because I really think he doesn't want to be around this group. But why would he? That's my thing. I really think he doesn't want to be around this group, so he doesn't make the effort to make sure that he's around this group or around for taping or anything of that nature. This group, regardless of what Lisa Nicole has said, because she said some crazy stuff herself, This group does not really like Lisa Nicole, and the fact that her husband came off sketchy from the jump gave them ammunition. Gave them ammunition, and when it looked like they weren't on the same accord, oh, that just sealed the deal for the group. And it's just like, oh, you need to be real about what's going on. It's like, regardless of what's going on, do you need to know every single detail? No. And that's the real truth. No. So we'll move on from that. But I do like the fact that she did stand up and say that, and no one had anything to say. I mean, what can you say? From the outside, they're still thinking, well, it's because your husband, he seems very sketchy, so that's why we always look at it sideways. But, it is a valid point, if that's what was going on. So, there's that. It's just, this whole thing's a mess. I really don't feel like she should come back on next season, because at this point, it's going to be her and Mariah on this island, and that's not entertaining to me. I don't want to see people to fake their way back into, being a part of their lives. I don't want to see that. We have this cute little segment of the kids and what's going on with the kids, and it's interesting because everyone talks about, oh, their kids, and do their kids watch the show? Do they not watch the show? Mariah doesn't have her kids watch the show, but of course Lisa Nicole has to have her kids watch, because their father says some dumb stuff, and kids can be mean. So those kids at school probably would be like, yeah, your daddy don't love your mommy, or your daddy don't want to have a baby with your mommy. Your daddy's cheating with this person, with that person. So Lisa Nicole definitely has to do damage control. Now, Dr. Simone, her kids are grown, so they do watch. Heavenly, it's just like, look, it is what it is. Most of them don't have their kids watch the show because it's a mess. It's a mess. I'm sure her older kids know about what's going on in the show. It's interesting because they do bring up the fact about raising kids and how raising kids, and Toya acknowledges the fact that she gave her mom hell when she was a little kid, so now it's like her kids, especially one in particular, are doing the same thing to her. But Toya says she did get arrested for stealing, and that was when she got the worst whooping of her life. And I think they were trying to go and segue how they're raising their kids now versus how their parents did it. Toya doesn't really do the whole whipping thing, but her mom definitely did it. And that's why she says she doesn't do it, because it still didn't work. Now, one time when I got that grand slam whooping for stealing some lip gloss, yeah, it worked that time. I never stole it again. But in general, it didn't really work for me. I still ended up being the person I am today. So it is what it is. I think it was interesting when the pettiness kind of came out towards, oh, you kind of spoil your kids. And it's just like, this was more towards Dr. Heavenly, and Dr. Heavenly deflected that onto Simone, said, well, your kids over there, and they get a lot as well. But what about those electronics that you get them? Yeah, but what about the fact that you got a house because it was more convenient to their schooling, so that they can come to their second house for the summer for school, and then leave out? I'm thinking, Dr. Simone is doing the dang thing. If she wants a second home to make it easier on herself and her kids, or just on herself, she can do whatever she wants. Please, she thoroughly enjoyed having that second place herself. That wasn't just for the kids. And again, that's her money. She is spending it responsibly. So what is the issue? What is the real issue here? That's the thing about this group. The pettiness comes out, and sometimes it's unnecessary. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Like when Quad had to mention the fact that, remember when your so-called new buddy chum friend was talking about how this is a little lesbian relationship that Quad and Mariah supposedly had. Quad's like, Mariah was my best friend. I'm sorry if you don't understand how it is to have a best friend or be friends with someone to the point where people would even think that about you. I said, woo! Lisa Nicole. Now, Lisa Nicole, she got you on that one. I can't defend you for that one, because that was real. That was very, very real. But the whole thing again with Toya and this whole legalities and owing the taxes. Toya said, it's funny how you brought up my mess, but I never went back at you until this very moment. And it's talked about the fact that, last season or 2 seasons ago, you had a similar situation. You were in a similar situation with taxes. And you put down the show as well, so it's not like it was a secret. Your husband owed over $100,000 in taxes. So you're coming at me and saying, oh, But you were just in a similar situation, and you're married, so even if it was mainly on his side, it's still a family issue. It's still a family issue. It's still not right. Mariah, is trying to let her voice be heard and be known that at the end of the day, I feel that this group of ladies, they come at Lisa, they come at me because they feel like it's an easy target. She's an easy target. Her situation's very easy to go and talk about and manipulate, and it's not right. It's not fair. All I see from this group is a bunch of ladies who are hurt. They're hurt because they thought that they could come together and do something different, uh, and make a huge difference in each other's lives and their families' lives. And what ended up happening is it just became the petty police. It became the petty police, and it was just a mess. That's what it really was. All of this is a mess. All of it was ridiculous. Most of what was being said was unnecessary. The whole fact that two events had to happen in the first place because the business wasn't right and they didn't really trust each other. It's all silly. It's all contrived. It's all dumb. The fact that Mariah and Dr. Heavenly get into this verbal altercation because Mariah and Heavenly, again, it starts off with the fact that they're wearing similar stuff. Mariah made sure that she wasn't wearing the same thing that Heavenly was wearing. Heavenly wanted to make sure that Mariah knew at the end of the day it doesn't matter because, oh yeah, you're basic anyway, you're this and that, oh flattery, imitation is best form of flattery. Oh yes, why would I ever want to go and be in the same type of get up as you, have anything in common with someone like you? They got in a full out conversation, Heavenly saying your mama, and it's just like, oh, have you seen yourself in the mirror lately? I don't get it. I don't get it where it went from, okay, we're laughing, like, hee hee, ha ha ha, to, oh my gosh, you have to go, you have to die, how dare you. Heavenly was working on herself, and the whole marriage retreat was great because Heavenly, I feel like she definitely showed growth at that moment, and then she kind of slipped back into her old ways, and that's all people were trying to say. Heavenly acknowledged it. Heavenly acknowledged the fact that she's not perfect. Heavenly acknowledged the fact that her daughter, she's like, regardless of what the other ladies say, my daughter affected me the most because when she's saying that I act a certain way, I can see it. Of course, this is a reflection of yourself. You're someone who you actually love and care and respect enough to take their feedback. So we expect that. But this whole part too, I don't know, because Heavenly, she's definitely a defensive person, and we know she's a defensive person. So she can take criticism to a certain degree, and even Mariah and Toya was giving her kudos for acknowledging that. And Lisa Nichols was like, yeah, she can definitely take it sometimes. But this whole Mariah versus Heavenly thing, because of things like, oh, I think Mariah is fake. At times she mixes truth with lies. It's just like, well, you mix. Let's not get into that. And for what? For what? Andy knew what he was doing though when he asked Heavenly, say your honest opinions about people, about Simone, how she dresses, about Quad needing to have a baby, at least Nicole not really being a good friend. It was just like, maybe the both of you weren't good friends. Can we acknowledge that? Yeah, we can. So that's it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I'm sure I missed a bunch. There was just so much going on that it's like, really? Really?